spiritual psychology. We're going to look at the first part of the day about what constitutes the basis of our spirituality. And by that, I mean, as I said before, what makes us alive, what makes us a vital being, what makes us different than just a collection of molecules in a test tube. We're going to be checking in right now to see who's here, who's with us. Before we do that, I'm going to ask you to write something down because we're going to use this in our introduction. We said this is about spirituality. Well, what is the goal of you as a spiritual being? I realize I'm making an assumption here because I know in certain circles people would say I'm not a spiritual being. You know, I'm just a ping pong ball bounced around in life by Brownian movement. No, I think we can safely assume that, yes, we have a spiritual life, we are a spiritual being. What is the goal of your spirituality in a word or a phrase? I know there are people here who have written books about this. Okay, so we're not looking for a big treatise. We're going to put it in a nutshell. A phrase that might use in some circles is enlightenment to me is a word or a phrase. If you don't like the word enlightenment, then you can just say the goal of my spirituality is in a word or a phrase. And of course, it's going to be different. That's why I say I love diversity. If everyone said the same thing, I'd say, oh, okay, we're done. And don't let your mind jump in. Oh, this has got to be perfect. Now, let's go around and I'm going to have you say your first name, where you're from, meaning where you live, and what enlightenment to me means is. We've got 35 people here, so we don't want to take up the whole day with this, all right? But we want to touch in with everyone. While we're going around, and while everyone is saying, I am so-and-so, I'm from this place, enlightenment to me means stop. I'm going to ask you to put your attention on that person rather than rehearse about when it comes to your turn, okay? Put your attention on that person as they say their name, where they're from, and what enlightenment is. See the light in them. You might even say to yourself, a light I see in you is. You don't have to do that, but focus on the light that you see in that person as they're introducing themselves. Anyone else that we missed?
You, Jim.
I'm going to go a little bit later. I don't want to bias the field right now because we're going to play a game. And this game is called the Enlightenment Game. And the first question that I'm going to ask is, you just gave your definition of enlightenment. Who here feels like they have those qualities of enlightenment or that they're living in that quality or that goal? For example, you say, I'm wanting to be in a sense of loving the universe, and I feel like I'm there. Who feels like they are in that sense of enlightenment that you just wrote, your own definition? Would you raise your hand? Excellent, excellent. Okay, now here's how the game goes. This game is for the purpose of our watching ourselves, our reactions, and judgments compassionately, not judgmentally, but just noticing what comes up for you, what feelings, what thoughts come up for you as we play this game. We're only going to play it for 8 minutes or so on each side. And here are what the sides are going to look like for this game. Now, the people who raised their hand, would you stand up? Come over here and face this way. And people who didn't raise their hand, come over to the other side. You guys over here. And make yourself comfortable, have a seat. If you want a chair or a pillow, whatever it is. But the two groups are going to face one another. So the game goes like this. Now, you are going to play the game in virtual land by knowing who has raised their hand is going to be in the enlightened group. Who has not raised their hand will be in the not enlightened. First go is the people who did not raise their hand. You are going to have the opportunity now to ask a question of anyone in the enlightened group about spirituality or their spirituality. And if in your estimation that's not an enlightened answer, then you can invite them to come into your group. Either you can ask an individual in the group, or you can just ask the whole group and someone will volunteer to answer. This is your chance. You get to ask anything you want of the enlightened group. And then you'll have your chance too.
What techniques do you all use to maintain your enlightenment?
Breath for sure. Breath for sure.
Breathing, absolutely. Yeah.
Responding in love.
I would say being consciously aware of the second life or the dream world as well. I think there's a lot of inner wisdom inside the dream world.
All right, you let them rest there. Okay. All right, one more question from the room.
What do you do when you get triggered?
I let off steam.
I love you. What do you do when you want to smack him upside the head with a rubber chicken?
Oh, I smile.
I'm a duckling. I'm covered in grease and it's right up and it doesn't even stick. But if you're having that bad of a day, if something is causing you that much distress, I empathize and I don't want to cause you more distress. I'm certainly not going to judge your situation, but I'm also not going to let it stick to me because there's too much in this world that can adhere to you and that you carry with you both throughout your day and when you go to bed at night. And that's the thing that can really start to diminish your quality of life, is when you just carry these burdens that you don't necessarily want to be carrying.
Stop completely, like all thoughts. So use your meditative practices that you already use them in the day-to-day life, and stop everything completely and do just kind of like a mental body scan. Where are you tight? For me, I get triggered instantly. My heart right here, chest area gets tight. And these are things I learned through breath work, that we have traps in our body. So it allows me to immediately locate that trap, recognize that this situation is causing this, breathe through that, and then also put myself in the other perspective. That's something I really had to learn, is I have to now go into this person's shoes. What were they doing? What are they doing? Why are they affecting me? Or if I don't know, let's say it's at a grocery store, for instance, and it's more of like a in the moment thing. Mainly just to recognize the fact that there's a million other lives happening at the same time in different time, space, and everything. And there's nothing I can do to alter it unless I want to. And whether I'm going to do that in a good or bad way is up to me. But I live with love, so I try to just be conscious of how I'm affecting the environment. And then I make a decision from there.
Okay.
Can I just add something?
Sure.
No.
Is that for me, any technique that I have doesn't work 100% of the time for me.
Yeah, very true.
And so there are those moments where I'm in that judgment, thought, that space, that pain, whatever it is. And then once again, I'll take a breath and allow that space to be there too, because that's part of my experience in this life, in this body.
Feeling anger, what is it that I want that I'm not getting? And then respond with love.
And I think there's a stigma too with enlightenment of that it's like absolute perfection of mind, body, and soul and everything, but it's more of just willing to accept all right, wrong, yin, yang, good, bad, and just flowing through that and giving space to it.
Okay, thank you. We're going to status quo. Someone from the enlightened group here has a question for the people that didn't raise their hand.
Do you feel like your spirit was enlightened when it came into the body that you're in now?
And maybe, I don't know, I can say depends, because if I want to say yes, but I don't know how my mom pregnancy was, like maybe like the trauma, or I don't know, maybe it's just my feeling, but that's why I didn't feel connected to I was saying that I didn't feel connected, like my mind, soul, and body. So maybe it's my work to done in this life. I don't know. But we're supposed to come connected.
I love what you said. Just a quick side thing. I'm adopted, so I have a whole mystery before I even came to the United States that my entire life has been a part of my shadow work, as I could say, to enlightenment. So I love in the next 5 months to see where we go through what your answer, just that whole birthing process and everything.
Wonderful. Okay, thank you all for playing the game. This was wonderful. I love the participation. And you're all going to get a chance to share with someone now about this. What we're going to do now is have everyone pair up in the room, set next, facing someone either on a chair, on a pillow, set facing a partner right now. And for 5 minutes, you're just going to share with one another what you learned, what was useful for you about the Enlightenment game. Okay, we're going to come back together now. If you want to give your partner a hug, that's okay. All right. All right. First of all, thank you for playing this crazy game. Okay. But I think you may have discovered already that it's a game that's being played all the time in life. All right. First of all, there's an essential lie in this game, and that would be that one group is different than the other. One group is essentially different than the other. The truth is, we do get a chance, we do have the right, and we are all deciding for ourselves what group we want to be in. And the key here is acceptance. You can be in the group that is the more yang, saying, no, there's more to do, there's more I've got to, that's great. But do you accept yourself in that? Or do you say, no, there's more to do and I'll never make it, and I always screw up and I'm da-da-da. All right. Then you may need a little more yin, which is no one is going to be more perfect, more lovable after this class than before. You may become a little more aware of your lovability. Right. No refunds, no refunds. Okay. So, and we both have yin and yang. We have two legs in life, you know. We take a step with the, say, the yang leg, as we're going to do later today, and we're going to have goals, things that we want to accomplish, things that, but if all we do is bigger, better, more goals, we're hopping down the road of life on one leg. It's tiring. You know, you need the balance with the yin, which is what meditation is about, what art is about, enjoying the beauty of life, recognizing that in my soul, I am one with Creator. And so each of us has our unique balance for that. You heard in the Enlightenment game, people saying what it means to them. The truth is we have both. We have both the part of us that wants to do more and recognize, okay, I'm not floating on a cloud all the time, you know. And then there's the part of us that recognizes that, yeah, there's something essentially good about it. At least I hope there's that part. And this is what we're going to try to increase. So we get to decide who is making the games for us in our life. Yeah. Now, you indulged me playing this game for educational purposes. But there's a lot of games that you're playing in your life, and maybe you're not so happy with them, or it's not giving you the kind of education that you want. I always say that when you feel trapped, you're in a trap, there's two ways out. One is change your mind and recognize, as Nelson Mandela did, okay, he can spend 9 years or was it more in prison, but he was not going to be confined. So you can change your mind and how you are judging the situation that you're in, or you can change the scene. Yeah, maybe moving to Taos in the Southwest is it's time for me to do that. Enough with the snow shovel. You know, I'm going to change my scene. But whether you change your mind or change your scene, you're with yourself. And self-acceptance is really the key. I had a teacher once who said his life dramatically shifted when he stopped living up to other people's expectations. But his life shifted even greater when he accepted himself and not continually put expectations on himself that he wasn't good enough and so on. So self-acceptance is our key here.